Hey guys, what's going on? Back here at my trusty ER today, working the weekend. Hope all you guys are getting to be home with your families and enjoying your time. I'll just keep plugging away here and making sure everybody's safe. So anyways, I wanted to talk to you about keto. Big surprise, right? We always talk about keto um, and the intermittent and extended fasting, but I want to talk to you today again about that. So before I get started here, hit the like and the subscribe, hit that little bell down there so that you get a notification every time I make one of these videos. That way you can watch and listen and hopefully put this to good use. And hopefully it's making a difference in your life or someone else's life that you care about, and getting things turned around for them like it has for me. For those of you who don't know, I'll start this video off with my history. I was as heavy as 262 pounds. I'm down to I think 164, 163, something like that. Just maintaining and feeling good. Got all my lab work reversed, off my type 2 diabetes medicines, including insulin, fast acting and long acting, as well as metformin. Those have all gone in the garbage, right where they belong. Doing well on the ketogenic lifestyle with the intermittent fasting. 20 hours a day I fast, 4 hours a day I eat. I have an eating window in that 4 hours. And then once a week I do a 48-hour fast. And then probably about once a month I do an extended fast of 5 days. Not something that I'm like set in stone on. I have a little flexibility, if I'm not feeling it, I won't do it. But of course, if I am feeling it, I'm gonna take advantage of it and get some of that fat burning and autophagy and immune support and all that stuff, the good stuff that comes in, the growth hormone, increased growth hormone on that extended fasting. So take advantage of all those things. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is I was just on MSN looking at the little news feed that comes through, and there was one that popped up from a site called Pop Sugar, and it was, I think, 14 ways. Was that right? Yeah, 14 ways to lose belly fat, the professionals say. I scrolled through those expecting to be amused, and I was, but on some they were pretty legit. Anyways, so the first one was create a calorie deficit. Okay, so they're going by the age-old study, or age-old practice of calories in, calories out, right? Eat less, work out more, and you'll lose weight. Well, anybody that's dove into this keto thing and they're following along with the very famous and intelligent Dr. Jason Fung is a board-certified nephrologist. If you've read the obesity code or the diabetic code, you know that calories in, calories out model does not work. Calorie is just a measure of energy that you get from burning a certain material. So if you burn a hot dog, it takes 90 calories of heat to burn that hot dog up, or whatever it is in the lab. The calories in, calories out doesn't work because your body is it uses like a thermostat. Like, the more calories you consume, it'll bump up your metabolic rate. The least calories you consume, it'll decrease your metabolic rate. So your body is always fluctuating with the calories in and calories out. It's not gonna, the caloric deficit, it will work for a short time. You will see some results, but eventually your body's gonna turn its fire down, and you're gonna be functioning the same that you did, doing the same metabolic processes on 1,200 calories as you were on 2,500 calories, only you're getting to eat less. Okay, so that's not a good way to go about it. Caloric deficit doesn't work. What you want, if you're doing keto, that's the way to go. Keto, low carb, even paleo is better than nothing. But you got to look at it like you've got your standard American diets like this, and then you've got paleo, and then you've got keto, and then you've got carnivore, which is even more hardcore. So it's just like like a bullseye, like a target for like darts. Outer ring, inner ring, inner ring, inner ring, until you get narrowed down until where you're at carnivore. So yeah, it's if you're doing keto, that's the way to get it done. I firmly believe that. You don't need to worry about your calories. You don't need to worry about anything except for just making sure you're getting your fats. You're not over consuming protein, and that you keep your carbohydrates low. And that's all you have to worry about as far as your macros. And I don't even calculate macros anymore, because I, for the most part, know kind of intuitively, if you will, that the foods that I'm eating and what they are, and I've eaten them enough that I know that I'm within my macros. So, anyways, that point made. Calories in, calories out. The caloric deficit does not work. The second one, focus on whole foods. Excellent advice. That is perfect. Yes, you want to focus on whole foods. You want to stay out of the center section of the grocery store unless it's to pick up things like your olive oil, your avocado oil, your coconut oil, your almond flour, coconut flour, any of your extracts that you need for baking, your Himalayan salt, all those kinds of things. Okay, you get my gist. Those are all in this intersection. Otherwise, you're staying on the perimeter of the store, getting your whole foods in. This said that if it comes from a package with millions of ingredients, don't eat it. And that's perfect advice. You don't want to be eating stuff that's got a bunch of things in it that you can't pronounce, right? You want to watch out for hidden things like sugar, dextrose, maltodextrin, sucrose, all those kinds of, that's all sugar basically, and it's junk. Fructose, you don't want it. So that's good advice. But then it goes on to say that you want to consume complex carbohydrates. Carbohydrate's a carbohydrate, folks. I'm sorry, but your body doesn't know the difference. They all create insulin responses. They all prevent you from burning fat. So it all promotes fatty liver. It all promotes fat storage. It promotes fat being on your organs. It promotes triglycerides. So it's saying that those complex carbohydrates should come from fruit and sweet potatoes and whole grains. So we all know what fruit does. If you consume fruit in excess, that fruit gets broken down into fructose, which is fruit sugar, gets shunted right to the liver through the portal vein. That your liver doesn't know what to do with it, so it just turns it into triglycerides, which is fat, which then becomes free floating in the bloodstream. Elevated triglycerides turn into elevated insulin resistance, fatty liver, all those kinds of things. So you don't want any of that. So like I've told you in the past, if you're going to eat fruit, do it in the form of berries. Berries are low glycemic, easy for me to say, low glycemic, and for the most part are keto friendly, as long as you're not eating them in excess. Make sure that you're aware of what the serving size is and that you're following that, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Sweet potatoes, obviously that's not keto, that's more paleo. We don't eat any type of potato on keto because it's not in the lifestyle, and it's just not part of the diet, and it's not good for you. It's a carbohydrate, it's a starch, and we don't eat those. So that being said, the next one is get enough protein, 0.8 to 1.8 grams of protein per day. You just want to make sure that your protein consumption is 25% or less, and when I say less, 20 to 25% of your total macros for the day. So you want to calculate and make sure that you're not over consuming protein. Is it as scary as everyone says with the gluconeogenesis? No, you're not going to overeat protein and make so much glucose that it's going to be a problem for you. If anything else, it'll be stored in your muscle as glycogen because you're you're glycogen depleted. So it'll just be stored in your muscle, and you may experience, like in the morning, you may have that dawn phenomenon where your blood sugars are a little bit higher. But that's because the glycogen's being shot out into your bloodstream to kind of wake you up. So that's the way that goes, and that's what happens. So, but yeah, protein. I don't calculate how many grams per pound of body weight I need. I just don't do that. It doesn't seem to be pertinent to me. You just consume it, at like I said, the 25% of your caloric daily, and you'll be good to go there. The next one, the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule. 80 to 90% of the time you eat healthy, the other 10 to 20% you indulge. Sorry, not the case. If you want to have, that's just not going to work. I mean, obviously we know what's going to happen if 20% of the time of the day you're eating and indulging in cakes and pastries and granola bars, who knows what. we all know what's going to happen. You're going to have a dramatic insulin spike. Your fat burning is going to go down, and you're just going to start storing fat. The insulin is a fat storing hormone, and that's exactly what happens. So if that's what you're doing, it's not going to work out for you. Like I say, short term, if you're doing all this stuff according to the American Heart Association diet or whatever it is, you'll lose weight in the beginning, but that'll taper off, and you'll even start to gain weight. Just be mindful that some of the stuff that you're seeing out there, it may not be as true to life as they make it seem. So just keep that in mind. So then the next one was eat veggies every meal. Excellent idea. Cruciferous veggies, right? Not starchy veggies like potatoes and peas and corn and all that garbage. You don't want to eat that stuff. You can eat zucchini and summer squash and crookneck squash and the spaghetti squash is okay. I don't eat it a lot, but in moderation I do eat it, and it's very tasty and I like it a lot. Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, we've talked about it, cucumber, any lettuce, spinach, any greens, Swiss chard and collards and all those kinds of things. They're all good to go. And you can season them up and make them tasty. But those things are all good. Yes, eat those every meal. Just make sure that you're counting your total carbohydrates on there. But those are all fibrous carbohydrates that don't get digested like a Twinkie would. So you don't have to worry about it too much. A broccoli, piece of broccoli tells you the truth on what its ingredients are and how many carbs are in it. It's not like these processed things where it can say whatever it wants and make up stuff about it, what's in it. So you're good to go with the veggies at every meal. However, this did say, it says to I eat whole grains. So you don't want to eat whole grains. We don't want to eat those, right? We're on keto. We don't want to eat those. They're not very good for us or for anyone else for that matter. But yeah, I know the food pyramid says you should have 6 servings of whole grains a day, but let's not do that. Okay? All right. So moving on. Eat until you're 80% full to avoid overeating. If you can calculate exactly what part you're at 80%, good luck. I don't know when I'm 80% full. I'm not like a gas tank where I got a gas gauge. I just eat to satiety, excuse me. So that's what I do. I eat until I'm full. And on keto, that's just fine to do that. You don't get full and then just get engorged after you're, I'm so stuffed. You just really don't feel that way on keto. And you guys know what I'm talking about for those of you that have been doing it. You get more of just a full, satisfying feeling, lower in your abdomen. I find with keto, I've never felt full up to here like I used to get. Like Thanksgiving dinner, you're unbuttoning your pants and settling in for a football game. I just have not ever felt that way on keto, but I have felt satiety and I have felt good with my fullness. So that being said, we're moving on. So this one will be number 8. Treat yourself once a day. So we're eating 80%, like the other one said there, 80 to 90% good, and then 10 to 20% bad. Now we're going to also treat ourselves every day. It does say with dark chocolate, you can consume some dark chocolate. Lily's is good. It's got stevia. It's sweetened with stevia. It's not sweetened with sugar. So, but be mindful, still got carbs in it. But yeah, the Lily's dark chocolate bars are excellent for if you got a chocolate craving. And there's obviously lots of baked goods. I've posted those on my keto or on my Facebook page, Keto Simplicity. I'm always posting desserts because I'm a sugar freak, but not anymore. I'm an erythritol or monk fruit or stevia freak, right? Because that's the way we should be eating if we're going to be consuming sweets. And if you notice that you have problems with your blood sugars, or you're not losing weight the way you think you are, and you're consuming a lot of baked goods on the keto diet, then try trimming those up a little bit. Don't consume them in excess, and you'll probably get back on track. Okay, so anyways, what the other things they recommended was a vegan cheesecake or a handful of chips or some wine. Yeah, that sounds like a great stroll down memory lane, doesn't it? Yeah, that's probably how we got fat to begin with, is eating chips. Who eats a handful of chips? Not me. I get a handful of chips, and then I get another handful of chips, and then I get another handful of chips. Wine, not a problem. Never was an alcohol drinker myself, per se, but a lot of people do have issue with that. So if wine, and another thing that, if you're drinking wine, that can lead you to cravings as well. So you want to be mindful of that. There are some wines that are lower carb than others. Wine is better than beer in most cases, but any alcohol really on keto should be avoided because it can cause cravings, and also it'll kick you right out of ketosis because your liver is going to stop turning fat into ketones to process that alcohol. So if at all possible, you want to skip that. Okay. Number 9, learn to develop a hunger scale, 0 to 10. On keto, as you become more sensitive to your hunger hormones, your leptin, your ghrelin, those kinds of things, your AMPK, those types of things, you'll be able to really gauge when you're hungry and when you're not. Ghrelin comes in waves, usually around meal times. So just get past that, and it'll subside. It'll go away. It just comes kind of in, it waxes and wanes. It comes in waves, and you'll be all right. You can get through it. It's not that bad of a deal. But just be aware of them when they come, so that you know how you're feeling and what your body's feeling and what you're going through when those things are happening, so that you can become more self-aware. What's triggering you to have these binging episodes, or when you're eating foods that you shouldn't be eating, and why that is, so that you can become more aware of it, so that you can combat it next time. Just use it all as a learning tool, and you'll be better for it. Okay. The next is meal prep, plan ahead. Excellent advice. Yes, that is absolutely a good idea, because what's the old adage? If you're failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. That's absolutely correct. Whenever I come to work stocked with the foods that I want to eat for the day. Otherwise, I could take a trip down memory road or memory lane and hit the vending machine. No, not really. I'm pretty locked in now, but for some people that may be true. If you don't bring your foods with you and you think, well, I'm just going to ad lib, that's not a good plan, because you will set yourself up for failure. You're going to get into things that you shouldn't eat or that you don't want to eat, and then you go down the whole road of oh, I already ate this, and I might as well eat pizza for dinner and have some ice cream for dessert, and I'll start again tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes the next day, and then the next day is Monday, and we all know how it goes, right? Yeah, just don't subject yourself to that. Just meal prep your foods that you want to eat for the day. If you work the week, Sunday, prep it up, and make sure that you're ready to go. That's the best thing that you could possibly do for yourself. Try intermittent fasting to utilize fat stores. Excellent advice. I've talked about that in the past. Intermittent fasting brings your insulin levels down, gets your insulin levels low, so that you can activate lipolysis and burn fat. And also, if you're taking apple cider vinegar, that's good. The acetic acid with the AMPK, AMPK is in your bloodstream, in your cells, and that's kind of a thing that makes you hungry. But when your AMPK levels are high, and they're high in the brain, that also triggers hunger, hunger, and it makes you want to eat, because your body is tapping into your fat stores. You've got AMPK, and the AMPK saying, so your body's saying, hey, brain, we're burning our fat. We need to eat, because intuitively your brain doesn't want to burn your fat, because that's your storage, right? So if you're taking apple cider vinegar, the acetic acid has actually been proven to reduce AMPK in the brain specifically, not in the body, but in the brain. So the AMPK will still be in your blood and in your body, and you'll still be burning that fat and converting that fat into energy. So that's a good thing to do if you're doing intermittent fasting, as well as the apple cider vinegar. I do 2 tablespoons morning and evening in 8 ounces of water, and then I'll drink some water afterwards to kind of flush my mouth, because of the acid on my teeth. It's not good for you. So, but aside from that, it's excellent, and it helps with fat loss and autophagy as well. So the next one is skip sugary processed foods. What can I say? That is obviously good advice. We don't eat sugary processed foods on keto. Anything that you eat that's sugary is usually something you've made yourself, and it's not sugary. Actually, it's with a sugar substitute. So yeah, that's great advice. Number 13, limit or avoid alcohol. So we're going to go back to number 8 where it says, go ahead and treat yourself once a day with some wine. Well, they've kind of reneged on that and said go ahead and limit or avoid alcohol. As I've said, you should do anyways. It's not going to be beneficial for you in keto. So if at all possible, do it in moderation, and if at all possible, not at all. Number 14, eat monounsaturated fats like nuts, seeds, avocados, and olive oil. Good advice, but I'll eat all fats, okay? Not just those fats. Eat all fats. Eat nice, fatty cuts of meat, delicious, fatty meat, and enjoy it. You don't have to be eating boneless, skinless chicken breast for the rest of your life with steamed broccoli on a plate and brown rice, okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. Eat tasty food that you can enjoy on keto. All the monounsaturated fats that I listed, but also saturated fat is good for you. Okay, I can't say it enough. It is good for you. There is lots of research now that is showing that a high-fat diet is actually beneficial to your cardiovascular system, so it's just a bunch of old science that says to eat a unsaturated fat or low saturated fat diet. Okay, do your research. Don't just take my word for it. Do your research. Talk. You can read about Dr. Jason Fung. You can look at videos by Dr. Ken Berry, Thomas DeLauer, Maria Emmerich. She eats lots of nice fatty cuts of meat, and the chick is skinny. Okay, she was smoking ribs the other day. So yeah, good stuff. Anyways, off the soapbox, and I hope that this video has helped you out, and that you can get some good information from it and you can make it work in your life. Again, hit the like and that subscribe bell so you get a message every time I make a video. Check me out at Keto Simplicity on Facebook. Lots of recipes and motivational stuff and information that I post there about keto all the time. Aside from that, have a good rest of your Saturday. Be safe out there, and if you need a driver, get one, okay? Don't be drinking and driving. I don't want to see you in the ER. Okay, love you guys. Have a good one.